In verse 29, he does say, like, you give up houses, which could mean just your family house or literally a house, or give up land. So there's this idea of giving up possessions in this life or being generous in this life. Yes, that's true, but he also says those who have given up brothers and sisters and father and mother and children. It's very significant that Jesus says this, because this is something that can have a big grip on our hearts in a wrong way. He's not saying to ignore our responsibilities to our family members. We still have a responsibility to those we're related to be there for them if they need us. We still have that responsibility, of course. Notice in the list it doesn't say spouse, so you can't use that as a phony excuse to leave a marriage you're not happy with. There are legitimate reasons for divorce, but you can't be like, well, Jesus said, I'll be blessed in heaven if I, give up my family relationships. Like, well, no, he didn't include spouse in that, so you can't apply that there. The covenant of being married should be unbreakable, which is very sad when it is broken, of course. What does Jesus say? He's teaching that if you place your family, these family relationships, if they carry the wrong place in your heart, then they can have two effects on you, a couple of different effects. One is, if your family rejects Jesus, they reject your faith, what will you do in that situation? Will you say, I'm going to have to lay down this relationship for my faith in Christ because my family has rejected Jesus? So some people will lose their family relationships because the family has rejected Jesus. That's definitely one way that it can happen. The other way it can happen is, maybe there's a few other ways, but there's one other main way that comes to mind, is that God sometimes calls us to live somewhere else to our families. And if our family becomes kind of an idol to us, it's something that determines the decisions we should make in our lives rather than God determining the decisions we can make in our lives, then what we'll do is we'll end up, the power of those family ties will be so strong in our lives that we're actually going to lose out on the rewards in eternity. Let me caution anyone because some people are happy to walk away from their families, right? Some people are like, I'm out of here. All kind of different reasons for that. But not everyone. Some people have very strong bonds with their families. And a caution to somebody who might be tempted to say, whether it's a brother or a sister or a father or a mother or even your own children, to say that the bond I have with those relationships, if that determines things in my life, when actually things in my life should only be determined by God, if that determines the desires that we have, the longings that we have, what I've seen over the years, I've seen people that are driven by that kind of idolatry always end up with long-term regret, because either it's their family maybe manipulating them in different ways and they can't say no to it, they don't know how to respond to it, or it may not even be that, it may be just the longing of their own heart. And Jesus is saying that the more we're willing to actually lay down these family ties, the greater the blessing will be in eternity in heaven. The reality is that the cravings we have for a perfect life now never come true. I've seen people over the years have long-term regret because they put their family in that kind of idolatrous place. And that can be very, and you only notice that years later. We say, man, I was driven by these motives and I didn't realize I was longing for something else. So the longing we have for family in this life is actually a misplaced desire for that heavenly family that we're going to be with God and all our brothers and sisters in Christ forever. It's a misplaced, because in this life we're saying, it's strange to me to hear Christians talking about having a dream home. It's a very worldly way to look at things in this life. Like that's heaven's our home. Or a dream, I'm going to have the dream location, the best location to live, really. I typically found that reality doesn't match our cravings, and then we're still dissatisfied, and then all the longings we haven't figured out, they're only satisfied, if I defer here, it's going to be satisfied there. The dream life is an illusion. It's an illusion. We've got to question. If those family connections have such a strong pull in our hearts, we've got to question, is my allegiance too strong? Do I need to be willing to lay that down in order to follow God.
When you like and subscribe, this video reaches more people.